Hello. So hi, welcome to my first video on this channel. Don't really know where to start, to be honest. This is going to be, I think, probably a bit of a ramble, this video. I really just wanted to make it to sort of just talk about what's happened. As a lot of you may already know, I had sort of like a severe mental breakdown at the start of May this year, just after I finished uni. Some of you might not know that, I don't know, but I just thought I'd speak about kind of what happened in the hopes of maybe sort of raising awareness for mental health. Also maybe just, if I get it all out, maybe I could sort of draw a line under it all and just move on, because I'm kind of struggling to move on from what happened and kind of get over what happened and stuff like that. So I feel like if I speak about it, will maybe be a way for me to draw a line under it and move on. I'm just going to put a trigger warning here for this video. If you're triggered by the topics of anxiety, depression, OCD, suicide, and maybe just not eating properly and weight loss and stuff, then this is definitely not the video for you. It's not worth watching. Sorry, I feel like my voice is like shaking. I'm really nervous, but I'm gonna like try my best to like articulate this the best way possible, but I haven't planned really what I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna start from the start. I've actually got like a diary of what happened on my phone, because my mum actually wrote a diary. She kept a note of what happened every single day from about the 4th of May to like about the 7th of June. It's so long, so we're not gonna obviously read every bit, we're just gonna kind of skim over it, and like that's just gonna help me, like prompt me into what happened from the start. So I finished uni on the 30th of April. So excited for summer. Like, I honestly, that year of uni was really bad, especially the first trimester. I just really struggled because it was going into winter, so it was getting darker. I think a lot of people can relate. It was sort of like lockdown, it wasn't really, but there was nothing open, nothing was happening, everyone was sort of like, ugh, just rubbish. And I just started uni and I got like the shock of my life because it was so much harder than I thought it was going to be. So, and then I got coronavirus in October, and I lost my smell and taste, and that really affected me because I felt so disconnected. You know how when you hug someone and they have a smell and you feel connected to them because of their smell, and like certain smells remind you of things, and like you eat things and someone's like, oh that's so nice, and like I just couldn't relate to anything that anyone was saying. I sort of then got used to it. I was like, well, I can't smell and taste now, it's probably never going to come back. The doctor was like, if it doesn't come back in 5 months, it's not going to come back, or something like that. So I was like, right. So I actually kind of forgot, like, unless people asked me like, oh, I've got your smell and taste back, I was like, oh yeah, I don't have a smell and taste, like I just yeah. Anyway, so that really, I think, played a part in fucking up my brain, to be honest. And then in January I moved into this flat, and I live on my own, and I'm also a complete perfectionist, so I needed this flat to be so tidy. Like, everything has to be in the right place, everything has to be like perfect. And I was like, I never sat down. Like, I would sit down to watch a movie or something, and then I'd be like looking around the room, like looking at what I could tidy and looking for things I could do. I would open all the drawers and start tidying them out. Like, I couldn't chill out. Like, and if I wasn't tidying, I was doing uni work, or I was working out, or I was walking, and that was all I would do. I would never sit down, like never ever sit down. I was like living my own. I was like giving myself so much pressure from uni because, again, I'm like, well, you'll find out that I've got OCD. It was lockdown and I was like on my own, and it was just, I didn't realise how unwell I was making myself, basically. I kept saying this to my friends. I was like, I feel like I'm like trudging on like in mud or like quicksand. Like, I'm trying to like keep going, but I feel like I'm going to collapse. Like, I feel like I'm going to break down. It's 11:11. Make a wish. Looking back at it now, it was so unbelievably unhealthy. So fast forward to end of April, when I finally finished uni, and I was planning on staying in Glasgow May and June, because I had a job as a nanny 2 days a week. So I was like, this is going to be so good. Like, I'm going to be working a few hours a week, and then I'm just going to spend my summer like outside, like with my friends, and it's going to be amazing. So on the 30th of April, I was with my boyfriend at the time. No longer have a boyfriend, by the way, but anyway, I'm going to talk about him a lot. So he's called Andy, because he's a huge part of this story. On the 30th of April, I was at Andy's, and I stayed there. That was a Friday, and I stayed there until the Monday. And then he came here for one night, and so we're on to the Tuesday the 4th of May. And he left. I started having panic attacks and I was like, what's happening? I was like in the flat on my own. I was like, oh no, this is not good, this is not good. And I was like, right, okay, I'll take myself for a walk. And I went for a walk and I was like, I just don't feel good. Like, tried, and then I had my first day of nannying that day in the afternoon. So I was like, I'll try and have lunch, and I couldn't eat. Like, I just couldn't eat, couldn't get anything down. And I went to work and I was like, right, well, this is fine because I'm maybe just nervous about starting my new job. And I got there and I was like away to pick up this little girl from school, and I was texting Andy like, something's not right, like I am gonna have a panic attack, and I'm literally standing at this school gate. But I managed to finish my day nannying and I got in the car and I just burst out crying, and I phoned Andy again, just like, this is really not good. So he got in his car and he drove back to Glasgow to see me. And in the meantime, I phoned my mum, and this is where it all started, and I was like, Mum, there's something wrong. Like, there's something wrong and I don't know what's wrong. So she was like, it's fine, because Andy was on his way. I was like, it's fine, Andy's on his way. Like, once he gets here, I'm sure I'll just, like, knowing someone's like home to you or like a comfort for you, and as soon as you see them you just instantly feel better. Like, that was what I thought was going to happen when he arrived. But he got here and I just didn't feel any better, and I was like, oh my god, you're not even able to make me feel better. And that's when I really panicked. We stayed over, and the next morning he left and I went to my sister's for the day, and I was just crying all day, like all day. I was like, I don't know what's wrong, like something's so wrong. And I still hadn't eaten yet, by the way, like still nothing, couldn't eat. Like, I felt so sick. I was actually being sick because my anxiety was so bad, like I was physically being sick. Yeah, so I spent the day with my sisters, and then my mum was actually coming that night, so she came and I was just crying all night, like hysterically crying. And they went to Tesco, my sister and my mum, and they got like all my favourite foods, and I just couldn't eat them. I just could not eat. And so I cried for the rest of the night, and then Mum had to actually sleep with me. Like, I could not be on my own. Like, I just don't know what came over me. Like, this was really scary, and I was looking at people like walking around outside, and I was just like, I'll never do that again. Like, I'll never be able to go outside again and feel normal. Sorry, I'm already crying, and this is literally the first day of the story. Yeah, I just was like, what's happened to me? And then, so my mum stayed in my bed that night, and then she couldn't sleep. It was like 3 in the morning, so she went through to the spare room, and I was just crying my eyes out. And she came through and she was crying, and she was like, Lucy, you need to eat. Like, you need to eat. You're not going to be able to function unless you eat, and your brain's just going to like shut down. Like, your body's just going to shut down. So so she made me toast, and I just couldn't eat it. I was just crying while I was trying to eat this toast. Sorry, some deodorant, I'm absolutely sweating. And then we went back to bed, and I just didn't really sleep at all. And the next day my mum had a meeting in the flat, so I had to sit. I was sitting in my room like just crying all day. That night we just quickly packed away some stuff, like a wee bag, and I just went home, like back to my family home. My mum had to sleep with me again that night. I generally couldn't be on my own. I was like, the way I felt was, I felt like my heart was broken. Like, I had like such a broken heart. I feel heartbroken, so I can't imagine how people who actually are heartbroken feel, and how do they ever live again, because I feel like I can't live like this. And then the next morning I went to the doctor, and I got blood tests and stuff like that, because they thought maybe it was like a thyroid problem or just something like that. And I got given propranolol, something like that. It's like an anxiety beta blocker sort of thing. This is the Friday, and I had nannying that day, so my mum actually brought me back to Glasgow and actually came to pick up the little girl from school with me, because I was in no fit state to go and pick a child up from school myself. And I was like, I was gonna actually just text the mum and be like, sorry, I'm in such a bad place, I can't do this. But I was like, if I don't try it one more time, I'll regret that. And my mum came, and then she waited outside the house while I did made like the little girls' dinner and stuff, like did the rest of my job. And then me and mum then quickly went to Silverburn shopping centre in Glasgow because we had returns to do, and we went and I just lost it. I got back in the car after being in the shopping centre and I was like hyperventilating, like panic attacks all the way back home, and I was just like, what is happening to me? This is so bad. Got home and I actually managed to eat something for dinner, which I was so surprised because I hadn't eaten for about 4 days by this point. This is where this is where I absolutely like lost it. Like I thought I'd already lost it, but this is where the story actually like properly begins. So me and mum were so knackered, so I was like, oh, let's go to bed. Mum had to come to bed with me again. Obviously mum sleeps with me for about 2 weeks, so yeah. So I lay down in bed and I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, something's not good, something's not good, like I'm not good, mum, like what's wrong, what's wrong? I was like, no, I can't go to bed, I can't go to bed. So we went back downstairs. I was pacing around my living room, like really couldn't breathe, like holding my chest, like having to stand outside to breathe. I was in a complete panic. And then I calmed down, went back to bed, and mum was like, I remember this so vividly, and mum, I was lying down, mum was stroking my face and she went, she said, my beautiful girl. And I clicked, something clicked in my head and went, I'm not girl. What am I? Who am I? Where's Lucy? Lucy left my body. I don't know what happened, but I completely disassociated. That was it. Like it just, something clicked in my brain and I was like, where's Lucy? I had to get up again, go back downstairs. And this is when I was like, I was looking in the mirror and I was like clawing at my face and at my body and going like, where am I? I was like, where am I? I was like, Lucy's gone. And this is when I started saying Lucy's gone for about a month. I was speaking about myself in the third person for ages. This was about 10 o'clock at night. I paced around the living room until 4 in the morning. I didn't stop. I couldn't stay. Every time I sat down I was like, oh no, like panicking, and I had to get back up again. And my dad was like, just sit down. And I was like, I can't sit down. Like I was in a state of sheer panic, so bad. So at about 4 in the morning I managed to eventually get to sleep, but I was like, really, it was hard. I was like, mum, you just go to sleep. And she was like, she couldn't sleep because she needed to watch me all the time, because I was like, I can't live like this, I can't live like this. And eventually I fell asleep for about 2 hours and I woke up like as soon as my eyes opened at 7 in the morning. I was like, oh no, and I was in a sheer panic again and I was like, what is happening? So one of my mum's friends, who's a mental health nurse, came round and I was absolutely gone. Like don't know what happened to me. It was so scary. And I was lying on the floor in my living room and she was stroking my hand and I was counting, I was closing my eyes and I was counting back from 100, and my mum was on the phone to NHS 24 because by this time it was Saturday. Like there was no one to help and I was like at my wit's ends by this point. And this was only the beginning. And I just remember the NHS 24 going, what's her date of birth? And my mum saying my date of birth, and it was so sad, like, because I was just going like, I was just saying how much I wanted to kill myself and I just wanted to die. I just kept saying, I just want to die. And it was just so sad, like hearing my date of birth, like how I've had all those years and then now I just was ready to die. Like that was my date of birth and I just felt like that day was my day that I died. The day went on and then a doctor phoned me. She was like, what do you feel? And I was like, I just want to die. Like I just want to die. Like there's just nothing that's gonna make me want to live anymore. And I was just lying down, my sister was crying. I was just like, I just want to die. You just feel like you have no option. That's when I got prescribed diazepam. Okay, so now it's the Sunday and my mum's just written here that like I slept basically all day, taking 3 diazepam a day. But all it did to me was making me fall asleep. It did make me feel better, but I was realising that it was obviously just masking what was going on. Like I was like, I need to actually deal with this. And then by the Monday, thank God the Monday came around, because it meant that I can go to the doctors. And I was just like, thank God, like someone's gonna be able to help me, like this is so good. To the doctor, and I was just gone. Like I was absolutely gone. Like I was just going like, what's wrong with me? I was asked to lie on the bed, like I was rolling around on the doctor's bed. Like she was just looking at me like, what is happening? Like she like looked like she'd seen a ghost. My mum actually saw the doctor recently, and the doctor was saying that that was the worst thing she's ever had to deal with. What the doctor did is she phoned Carsview, which is the crisis team in Dundee at 9 Wells, and Carsview said that they'd see me at 6 PM that night. While she was on the phone to Carsview, she was like, are you suicidal? And I was like, yes. She was like, have you got a plan? And I was like, yeah, like my plan was to jump in front of a car outside my house, like that. I was going to do that. And when you say you have a plan, they have to see you. After the doctors, I remember just lying in my hall. All I could do was lie down. It was just really weird. I was lying in my hall with my mum and my 2 sisters. I was just crying, and I started this moaning thing. I was really like screaming, like in pain. I was in so much pain, like physical pain in my heart. And I was just like, Lucy's gone, and I can't live the rest of my life missing Lucy. Like I need to die, because I'm just gonna miss Lucy for the rest of my life. At this point I hadn't eaten for a week. I was just shutting down, and yeah, it came to 6 o'clock, thank God, which meant that I was going to be seen by the crisis team. And in the waiting room I was just lying there, like I was just lying there like a fucking dead person. Like the whole way to the hostel, actually, I was just gonna jump out of the car. Like I was like, it was so awful. My mum was holding my seatbelt so that I couldn't take it off, and she was like trying to hold the door, and it was just a nightmare. I got to hospital and they saw me, and I managed to calm down, and I actually spoke for the first time in about a week really articulately, is that the word? Articulately. And I spoke for ages. I kind of had to explain what had happened in the last year, and like to the build up of this, and I kind of spoke about how I was obsessive about my weight and exercise. And so they prescribed me more diazepam, and they gave me a sleeping tablet. And so this was the Monday, and they were like, don't worry, like you're going to be better by Thursday. On the Tuesday, one of my grannies actually turned up, and she saw me, and she asked to see me, and I was lying in my mum's room. And I don't really remember what I think the diazepam did to me was, when I was sleeping, I had my eyes closed, but I could hear everything that was happening, and I couldn't open my eyes. It was really weird. Like I felt like I was sort of like in a coma. Like I really felt like I was awake, but I was sleeping, and I couldn't open my eyes. It was really weird. So I kind of knew she was there, my granny, but I didn't at the same time. And then it went to dinner time, and I think I sat at the dinner table this night, and I tried to eat something, and we're like, my family home, we're moving, so my family was sort of chatting about that, just sort of like chatting about something else. And like my sister and boyfriend had just bought a flat, so they were kind of chatting about that, and I couldn't cope with it, because I just thought, like, I'm never gonna be able to see I'm never gonna see my sister's flat, and I'm never gonna see my mum and dad's new house. Like I just remember that really well. Then that night I slept all night, and then that's when my granny and granddad came round, and again I felt them there, but I had my eyes closed and I was sleeping, and it was really weird. And then the noises got too much, so I just like stood up and walked away and walked into my mum and dad's room, and my granny was really, I think, seeing me like that, so agitated and just withdrawn, and just lost so much weight, and just It's so bad. It was obviously really upsetting for my granny to see. I don't think they expected it. And then this is where like it gets the worst. Anna came round to visit me and I think she was probably quite shocked, but she came round and I was just crying on the sofa, like just my life had ended for me there. Like that's what I thought, like my life had ended. There was nothing that could take me out of how I was feeling. I was just gone. Like I just don't understand. Somehow I ended up back up in my room at some point. It's very confusing for me. Like I don't remember because I was on diazepam. I went up to my room and my mum was lying with me and Anna and Andy were sitting on the edge of my bed. Again, I was just saying, I want to die and I'm gonna kill myself. I'd spent the whole week watching cars go past my house thinking, what one's going fast enough to kill me? And yeah, so I was just crying and Andy was crying and Anna was crying and I was like, no mum, you need to just let me kill myself now. Like I can't do this anymore. Like there's no other option for me and everyone would be better off without me because I'm not going to be the same again. And it's just going to be too upsetting for everyone. So I just need to end this here. And that's just like when Andy just walked out, you just can't take it anymore. Like he'd been living with us for like 6 days and it had been literally the worst 6 days of one's life. Like it was just awful. That was just so bad. I just ran after him and I was like, I'm so sorry. Eventually Anna left and then eventually went to sleep that night. And at about 3 in the morning I woke up and I was wailing, like wailing. I was like, I might insert a video of what it was like, but it's very distressing. But I was just wailing and then I went downstairs and I was lying on the living room floor with my mum. And she was going, Lizzie, when we're better, we'll go to New York. And we'll do such fun things. Because I've always dreamt of going to New York. It's literally my biggest dream and like, Lucy would have loved that. But what I was there just didn't care. I was just like, I'm never going to get there. Like, I don't know who this person is and I don't want that person can't go to New York. So then I just went back upstairs and I was wailing. Like I was lying at the end of my bed just wailing. And then I woke up in the morning and so I woke up the next morning, which was the Thursday, and that was the day that the crisis team told me I was going to be better. And I wasn't better and I was like, why am I not better? Like no one has helped me yet. Like this pain is going to kill me and no one can help me. Like I've seen the doctors twice, I've seen the crisis team, they said I was going to be better and I'm not. So who is going to help me? Who is going to help me? I was lying on my bedroom floor in the morning and my mum had to like shout up my dad at this point to come and pick me up and bring me downstairs because I had like lost the ability to walk. Like I couldn't walk anymore. I couldn't walk anymore. Like it just got to that point and I was screaming, like screaming in pain, like I just lost it by this point. I was just gone. So then I was like, I need Andy. So I went up and woke him up and I was lying in the bed and I was punching the walls and I was hitting myself and I was punching myself and I was like, I was looking out the bedroom window and I was going like, Lucy used to walk over there, Lucy used to walk over there and she's never gonna do that again. And I was crying my eyes out. And my mum was on the phone to the crisis team. She was like, somebody help me, like my daughter is going to kill herself. Like what is happening? Like someone help us. Like I was screaming like, please somebody help me, like so they can hear me down the phone. I was like, somebody please help me. they were like, we'll come in at 1. We went in at 1, my little sister came, my mum, Andy and Anna came, and only my sister and my mum actually came in, and Andy stayed in the car. And I was in the waiting room and I was lying on the floor just wailing, and I was like sitting in the corridor, like I was going out to the, like crawling out to the corridor and screaming like, somebody help me, like somebody please help me, like I'm going to die, somebody help me please. And the doctor walked in and she was like, oh my god. I was so frail, like I had lost like a stone in like a week. Like, oh my god. She was like, I think she was a nurse, and she was like, oh my god, get the doctor. And the doctor came in and he was like, you're gonna have to come into hospital, like you're gonna have to stay with us. And I was like, no. I was like, no, please, no, like I can't be without my mum, like I need my mum, I can't not be with my mum. My mum was really crying, but then my little sister was there and she was like, Mum, this is what you needed, like you need a rest, like Lucy needs to go to hospital, this is the only option now. I actually was like, right, someone's listening and I'm gonna go to hospital and I'm gonna get better. And then so we went home and packed a bag and we all went into hospital, and I said bye to Anna and Andy at the door. And I was in a wheelchair at this point and I couldn't walk. Like I was just gone. I was just a shell of a human. Like I couldn't walk anymore. So I said bye to Anna and Andy at the door, and that was, as you can probably tell, really traumatic, like really sad. Like they were both crying. It was like saying goodbye. I did not know how long I was going to be in hospital for. I didn't even know I was going to be allowed out for visits and all that. So yeah, that was hard. And I got into hospital and I got into this waiting room, and I was just having the worst panic attack I have ever had. I could not breathe. Felt like my airways had this closed. They just see ya, gone. I was like, oh, this is not what I want to be doing on my Thursday. So they sort of like assessed me. The doctor came in and stuff, and then my mum left and I just had to like go to my room, and I was just like, I got into my room and I was like, oh my god, is this actually happening? Like, but like at the same time this bravery came over me and I was like, I've got to do this, like this is my last option. No doctor outside of the hospital could help me, no crisis team can help me, like this is it now, like this is my last option. Like if I don't feel better from this, then yeah. I got to the hospital and they were like, yeah, you can't leave your room for 2 days while we wait for your coronavirus test. And I was like, really? I'm stuck here for 2 days in this room. So I'd just been told that I wasn't allowed to leave my room, and I was like panicking. I was like phoning my mum. I was like, Mum, please come and get me, like this is so scary. I'm not allowed to leave my room. And my phone's always to run out of charge, like what am I gonna do? And a nurse came in and she was like, get off the phone. She was like, and I was like, stop shouting at me. And she was like, there's nothing wrong with you, you don't have mental health issues, like you're just stop crying, you're just attention seeking, like you're gonna be in and out of this hospital your whole life if you don't stop crying. And I was like, oh my god, is she being serious? I was like, do you think this is where I want to be spending my weekend? This is not how I planned to be spending my summer holidays. I'm making light of it now, but to be honest, that was probably the worst day of my life. It was the start of my 8 days in hospital, which were so bad, so bad. Maybe like the first 4 days I was allowed out for like the day just to like go to my granny's. My granny literally lived right next to the hospital and stuff like that, so that was okay. But on the 4th day I was out all day and I fell asleep in my grand's, and then I woke up in a panic and I was like, Mum, take me back to hospital. And so we went back to hospital. My mum was crying, and like the hospital, then the doctor then came in and he was like, are you feeling okay? And I was like, mentally no, but physically yeah. And he was like, yeah, we need to take you in for an assessment. And he started like touching my stomach and stuff, and he was like, and I was bright yellow because I've got Gilbert syndrome, which means that there's something like wrong with my liver or something, so it gives me jaundice. So I was bright yellow, and he was like, yes, your Gilbert's disease is flared up, your levels are very high. And I was like, yeah, I can tell because I'm yellow. Anyway, so that just added to that, so that was great. Yeah, there was one day in the hospital where I just walked around. I did about 100 laps of the ward, crying my eyes out, because I was like, I'm never gonna get married, I'm never gonna have kids, like this is like all my dreams are like, it's never, like I'm just never gonna get married. And I just sat on the floor in the corridor with this teddy. I walked about with this teddy. I just sat in the corridor like this, like with it against my chest, like crying my eyes out. And the nurses and the patients just kind of turn a blind eye, like they just walk past you and you're just sort of like bawling your eyes out. Like it's mental. But yeah, my name's nurse called Ashley. She came up to me on like the 5th day and was like, yeah, you're not allowed to go out anymore to see your family. You're like, well, you're allowed an hour a day, but that's it, and you have to come back. And every time you left to go out for the day, they'd write down what you were wearing because you ran away. And I was like, oh my god, this is actually so scary. I'm like, I'm never gonna get out of this place. I'd wake up at 8 in the morning and I'd sit and watch the clock until 1 o'clock for my mum to come and pick me up for a visit. Like, I honestly, like, there was nothing for me to do. I didn't do anything. I couldn't watch TV because I had stopped watching the TV because I was scared of TV. Couldn't read magazines, couldn't colour in, couldn't listen to music, couldn't watch anything. Like, I was just sitting there the whole time. I had to make friends in there, and I actually did. I made a lovely friend. We used to just sit and cry together in the mornings. It was really quite sad. But yeah, to be honest, being in a psych ward is probably everything you think it is. It's terrifying, and there are some days where, some nights where there was some days in the hospital where I just thought, I'm gonna get better, but I'm never gonna get over what I've seen in here. Like, it's terrifying. So I'll never be able to unsee the things I saw. Like, one night I didn't get given a sleeping tablet, and I woke up at 4 in the morning and to someone like screaming their head off, like throwing everything around their room. Like, so it was probably the most scariest moment of my life, and I was just sitting there crying my eyes out at 4 in the morning. Like, I'm never going to get over this. Like, I'm never going to be the same, because I've just seen the most traumatic things and just heard that scream I'll never forget, and literally lost probably over a stone in less than 2 weeks. So yeah, it was just a nightmare. But I actually took, like, I only have like four photos from when I was in the hospital, so I'll insert them now. Literally the most random photos ever. But I wish I could have like took videos now of what it was like and stuff, but at that point I never thought I was gonna get out of that. When it got to the Friday, so I'd been there from the Thursday the week before to the Friday the next week. The doctor came in and she was like, do you want to go home today? And I was like, okay. And it was really scary because it was on me, like, and then I started second guessing myself, like, am I actually feeling better? Like, my mum was obviously quite panicky. She was like, are you ready to go home? Because the day before I was awful, like awful. Like, I'd given up. Like, the day before I was sitting on the floor in the common area crying my eyes out, like, I give up now. I'm never going to feel better. I was like, I give up. I give up. And the doctor was like, no you don't, like, you don't give up. And I was like, I do. I give up now. Like, this is it. I can't do this anymore. So yeah, but at the end of the Friday I was fine. I just was, well, I wasn't fine, but I was ready to go home. I didn't need to be assessed anymore. They put me on sertraline and olanzapine. But so before I left the hospital, I packed up all my stuff, and then I left a note for the staff on the ward, because I was so amazed by what they did for me and how they just like knew what to do, and how they just treated me so well, because I was actually the youngest in there. Random nurses would come in that I'd never even met, and they were like, you're the fashion student, aren't you? Like, you're the 21-year-old, you're Lucy. So yeah, that's kind of like my story sort of thing. There's more to it, but I've literally, well, believe it or not, there's more to it, because I've literally spoken for about an hour. That's kind of like what happened. I got quite upset at the start of this video, but I've actually FaceTimed Dan in the middle of this, and it's like cheered me up. But it is a hard story to tell, and you guys can probably understand that. I know it's probably a really depressing video to watch, but I just thought I'd share the story, because when I was in hospital, the only thing that made me help me to sleep at night was knowing that people had felt like how I felt and had gotten through it. And I honestly, want to tell anyone that you can come back from this. Like, you'll understand from that story that I was just like, there was no other option than suicide, really. Well, that's what I thought, and turns out like that was just not an option. That was just, I had options. Like, I chose to get better and to fight it, and I fought it so hard. And I have been getting counselling for the past like 4 months, and I got really intense counselling once I left the hostel, and like every day. And I'm still on medication, and they've had to like tweak my medication recently. And yeah, like I hope that that never happens to me again. My psychiatrist says that like, not definite that it's not going to happen again, but like if I have the right therapy and I'm in the right medication and know the signs to deal with it and know the signs of it coming on, then I can definitely stop it from kind of getting that bad again. But yeah, I just really wanted to make that video just to raise awareness for mental health and just share my story and just like give hope to some people that you can get better, and that I've done it in like 4 months, and that's actually so quick. But obviously I'm not 100%, like I'm so much better than where I was. Like I'm back to doing things that Lucy loves, and I really didn't think that would ever happen for me again. Quite a few positives have actually come out of it, believe it or not. Like I am a completely different person now. I feel like my personality has really changed, but in like the best way possible. Like I have like sort of this fuck it personality now. Like I just don't care. Like I don't get embarrassed about things. Like, for example, say I wanted to go on a date, I will just ask that person. Like, I will not get embarrassed. Like, I'll not be like, what, they don't want to, so what? Like, who cares? Like, nothing embarrasses me, nothing really, I just don't really care. And like about my body and stuff, and like perfectionism, like that is just like sort of gone. Like I am probably the healthiest I've ever been, like weight wise. Like I actually have a figure now. Like before I wanted no fat on me. Like I was like, if I can like pinch a tiny bit of fat, then I am disgusting. Like, but now I have such a healthy relationship with exercise and food, and I just eat what I want. I don't restrict myself, and I just have this new lease of life, and I'm just so different, and I find joy in just going out paddleboarding with my friends, and just, I don't know, I'm just so much happier, and I feel like people can tell, and I just sort of radiate this different personality now, and I just don't care what people think about me, and I just have this new bravery. Nothing can faze me now because I've been through that, and I went to a psychiatric hostel on my own. Like I was on my own, and I only had myself. So now I only need myself. Like I can just do things on my own, and I never ever knew I could do that, or never had the bravery or the confidence to think that I could do things myself. But the bravery I showed myself was just unbelievable. I never knew I had it in me, and now I'm like a complete different person, and I just want to talk about mental health and just help people with it. And just, if anyone needs to talk about anything they're going through, please message me, and because you can talk to me about it, and I can reassure you that you'll get out of it, and you'll have up days and you'll have down days, but on the whole you are recovering, and you will get better. One day you will just feel amazing, and there are days where I just feel so good, and I feel so genuinely happy, like for probably the first time in years. Like I feel genuine happiness. I just want to say thank you to all the people who helped, and I wouldn't be where I am without them, and also I wouldn't be where I am without myself. I wouldn't be without myself being brave, and I don't know, I just feel really good actually now I filmed this video. Like it's been a roller coaster probably for you guys to watch. It's like it was up down up down. I was really nervous at the start, but now I'm actually feeling really good, and this is what I wanted out of this video, to just feel like better. Yes. Okay. Oh my god, I'm really hyped now. I'm really excited. Right. But yeah, I'm hoping to do some more videos. I'm currently like actually like vlogging. I don't know. I'm vlogging. I don't know if I'll even upload it, but it's just something for me to do while because I live my own. And I think I've said that about a million times. I live my own. So I just need someone to talk to. So yeah, I'm gonna talk to you guys in the vlog. Well, when I say you guys, and I don't actually have any subscribers, I'm really excited to video stuff. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that was like good in a way to hear. I don't know. I don't really know if anyone will be interested, or I don't know. I just really hope it helps people because that's all I want to do. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll probably see you in my next video. Okay, bye.